Hey guys, Austin here, and welcome back to another Minecraft mod showcase video here on the channel. Today we are checking out a mod that I've meant to review for a while now, known as the Darkest Souls mod for Minecraft version 1.21.1, the most recent current version of Minecraft. It's also available from versions 1.20.1 to Minecraft 1.21.1, not confusing at all, I promise. So this mod is actually a sort of remake or carrying over of the old Bloodborne mod that I reviewed a while back on the channel. This, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me somebody if I'm wrong. I believe it's the same mod creator that essentially took that which was Bloodborne pretty much being added into Minecraft, and now they're just doing every single Souls-like game added into Minecraft. So Darkest Souls is a dark fantasy mod inspired by the Dark Souls series with games Elden Ring, Bloodborne, the Dark Souls Trilogy, Demon Souls, Sekiro, and a successor to the older Blood and Madness mod. That's what it was called. This mod aims to add a heavy progression system based on exploration and combat with a great variety of weapons with special attacks and abilities, a magic system, and plenty of new enemies to fight. So yes, this is confirming that it is a successor to the Blood and Madness mod. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is going to be a pretty lengthy video. You probably already can tell by how long it is on the video length. So just sit back, relax, enjoy this showcase, and we're going to go over everything possible within this mod. I will not spare any detail because this is a brand new mod for 1.21, and it seems to be a pretty promising mod with potential growth and a lot of content in it. So let's start things off by going over the game mechanics. Also, there's going to be a lot of talking in this, so just bear with me. I want to explain everything in detail. So the first game mechanic we're going to be talking about is poise. All mobs from the mod have a poise value that when it is decreased to 0, the mob is stunned for a few seconds. For now, only custom weapons from the mod will damage enemies' poise. So enemies will literally be able to, like the Souls-like games, resist certain attack values until their poise is dropped, and then they'll be able to take a lot more damage. After that, we have some special effects. Different mobs are immune to different special effects, which we'll be going over later in the video. This can be configured with entity type tags in the config, so just keep that in mind. After that, we have blood loss. So blood loss is an effect that increases each time it's afflicted, so it's like a bar that has to fill up. It has no direct effect, but once it goes over a certain value, it inflicts a large portion of health and resets. So how it works in Elden Ring, at least from what I'm familiar with, whenever you hit a mob a certain period of time, it builds up this bar. Once this bar is filled up, it does a massive amount of damage once, and then you have to fill up the bar again, like it just sort of said. All mob enemies have different blood loss resistances, increases the blood loss amount loss inflicted need to trigger the effect, and vanilla mobs and other mobs from other mods all have the same resistance of 14 except skeletons that are immune to blood loss. The player has a resistance of 10, and future custom armor sets will increase the player's blood loss resistance. So blood loss so far is the biggest thing that's in this mod in terms of explanation. There's a lot to talk about with that, but let's move on to toxic and rot. So damage over time affects stronger than poison and or different intensities. So that is the toxic and rot effects that will be affecting. It's sort of the same as blood loss, but more intense. And then we have the frost effect, which slows the affected entity and makes them brittle. Also deals a little damage over time. So those are all different effects that are available from certain weapons. And speaking of weapons, let's talk about them. So I'll tell you guys right now, there's a lot of weapons to go over, so I'm not going to spend time going over each and every one. Just know that they all have custom crafting recipes, and if they don't have custom crafting recipes, that means you get them from certain mobs. I also recommend that you guys install the JEI mod or Just Enough Items mod. It should be also linked in my description of this video, where you can view all the recipes of things just so you do not have to worry about certain things. And keep in mind, when you're viewing a recipe, if it just says the enchantments that can go on it, that means it is something that drops from a mob specifically. And like I said, I'm not going to go over all these weapons, but I did just go over all the effects that many of them have. You'll also know that the ones that actually involve crafting will require two different ores, which is these things back here. So we have the cinnabar ore, which can be found in its base format of stone, deep slate. It can be found in the nether. It can be found in blackstone. It can be found in basalt and the end. After that, we have the siderite ore, which can be found again in normal and deep slate caverns. You have netherite, or nether version of it, blackstone version, and endstone version. So you will be able to mine all of that. And there's one decoration block, which is the siderite brick, which can be crafted with the one siderite nugget surrounded by stone bricks. And you get some stone bricks that you can actually turn into different variations, and of course build with that if you so desire. So far, that's the only building blocks that are in this mod. But trust me, it makes up for it in the variety of other things that are in the mod, like I said, with all the weapons. And again, certain weapons have different abilities. If I hover over just some of them, you will see they have different values, different attack damages, different potential like bleed or fire even that you can get. And there's a bunch of other effects. And yes, you can even add enchants to these weapons, which I'll be going over that later as well. But like I said, I don't want to go over every single weapon because it will take time, which is why I'm hovering over them right now. A few of them I did go over in the Blood and Madness mod showcase that I did a while back, but there's even sorcery staffs as well because there is magic within this mod. Moving on, let's talk about some interesting elements for some of these weapons. So common and special weapons. Weapons are differentiated by their attack speed, range, damage, poise damage, movement speed, and knockback intensity. All weapons also have special attacks that allow them to hit multiple enemies at a time, each with its own hit range and number of enemies that it can hit at the same time. So a lot of testing is going to be done with each and every weapon. Keep that in mind. Some weapons also inflict blood loss, which we just saw, and other intrinsic properties. Special weapons are stronger and have more unique properties, but require rare materials to craft. Some weapons have intrinsic properties such as being able to inflict debuffs such as bleed, poison, etc., or being more effective towards special categories of enemies like abyssal, beast, demon, hollow, etc. And yes, those are some of the mobs we'll be going over later in this video. This can be configured through entity type tags in config options, but just keep that in mind. That is what the common special weapons are able to do. Next up, we have trick weapons and sorcery stabs. So trick weapons are special weapons that transform into alternate versions of themselves by holding the left alt key. For now, the only trick weapons added in the mod are the Soul Cleaver, Hunter Axe, Shikage, and Hollow Moonlight Greatsword. So all of those are in the mod, and I'll just show you one of them real quick, which is the Saw Cleaver. So here's Saw Cleaver in its base form, and if I hold left shift, it should be able to transform, and it's not doing it, of course. Why is it not doing it? Oh, it's left alt, not left shift. Sorry. There we go. And as you can see, it has transformed to its other version. So this is its current stats in its alternate version. And then if I switch it back, you will see that the stats do slightly change a bit, and it does actually matter. So just keep that in mind when you are using certain weapons, such as the Saw Cleaver. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can craft the Saw Cleaver. It has a bunch of materials in it that you can use to craft the thing, and most mobs drop all these materials if they're not the two ores I went over before. Keep that in mind. So sorcery staffs are all consume a small amount of soul fragments to cast the diverse range of their magic attacks. Each staff has 2 magic attacks, one for left click and one for right click. They are buffed with a star power enchantment for flat damage and a moon blessing enchantment for percentage increased damage. And again, we'll go over enchants later, but I'll just show you real quickly with the Crystallian Staff tier 3. So left click, as you can see, I'm firing these sort of particles. And if I right click, which holds it down like a bow, you'll see I'm doing a sort of crystal prismatic attack, which is really cool. And that's just one of the staffs here. I'll show off one more, Chaos Witch Staff. So again, left click, I'm doing fire, which we actually don't want fire because that's going to end up burning my stuff down. And then hold right click, giant fireball with some magma on the ground. That's a custom magma effect too, if you are noticing. And it even works like magma and fire, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's just 2 of the staffs. Like I said, there's a bunch of other staffs you'll be able to work with, craft to your heart's content. Again, they use a bunch of custom crafting items that you will get from certain mobs and areas. Just keep that in mind. But let's move on to guns. So guns come in different sizes and varieties. They differ in damage, speed, range, amount of consumable projectiles. Some of the currently implemented guns are like the pistol, blunderbuss, Gatling gun, and repeating pistol. They consume quicksilver bullets, which is the first item that I actually had in my chest here. They're crafted with gunpowder, copper ingots, thank goodness they use for copper, and pure quicksilver item, which is crafted by smelting cinnabar crystal, which is the ore that we went over before. So after you get that, there are plenty of different enchantments that also improve them, such as the firepower and greater firepower enchant, which we'll be going over later, and a bunch of others that inflict in poison, bleed, etc. from bullets. So keep that in mind. You can even customize the bullets you're firing from your guns within this mod. And before you ask, when were there ever guns in Souls-like games? Well, that's Bloodborne for you. Anyway, moving on, we have the alchemy tools. Alchemy tools are a different category of magic weapons. For now, only the flame sprayer is present. They are buffed by the same enchantments as the staves. So the flame sprayer, which is this thing right here, is the only current item categorized as the alchemy tool. Again, a Bloodborne weapon, I believe. And it's a pretty cool flamethrower that literally just spews fire. It's really fun. And after that, we have some throwables, which are consumable weapons that can be thrown at enemies and various items. There are throwing knives in different strength and compatibility of inflicting different debuffs, and fire bombs is a variant potency that can light up mobs environments on fire, which again, some of those items were in this chest right here. You can see we have fire bomb, we have black fire bomb, we have Molotov cocktail, and then we have some knives you can throw as well, like the poison knife and the cookery. One note for the mod creator I think would be cool is to add a sort of subtext of which actual game each item is from, like if this was from Bloodborne or if this is from Elden Ring. I think it'd be cool to add that just to sort of add to the collector's value of trying to get all these items. I think that would be cool. But let's actually move on to the different armor sets. And yes, they're as complicated as the weapons. So under armor sets, there's actually multiple classes of armor sets. There is the Knight class, Hunter class, Sorcery class, Specialist class, and Alchemist class. So the Knight class has high defense, bonus to attack, and melee to, or malice to walking speed. So it increases your walking speed. You have bonus attack power and high defense. The Hunter class, medium defense and bonus to movement speed. Sorcery class is low defense but bonus to sorcery. Specialist class is medium to low defense, bonus to guns and throwing knives. And the Alchemist class is lower defense, a bonus to alchemist tools and throwables. So keep in mind, while you are using these sets, you're probably gonna have to wear the exact full set. You can't just sort of put on half and half and get all the buffs. So first up, we have the Hunter class set. Again, you're welcome to read all those stats, but it is proficient in bleed resistance and fire resistance looking like, which is really cool. And specifically, it says tier 1. So I imagine there's a chance of actually getting higher tiers or lower tiers from the different drops. After that, we have the Alchemist set, which is a bleed resistance set with increased alchemy damage and chance to not consume ammo, which is really cool if you wear that whole set. Well, not wear the whole set, but specific parts of the set you can see offer those abilities. Again, I'm not sure if those abilities count if wearing the full set. I would be one to assume you have to wear the full set to get the full bonus. After that, with a Specialist set, which is increased gun damage and bleed resistance and chance to not consume ammo if you wear the hat, which is really funny. After that, we have the Tattered Wizard Robe, which is magic resistance and sorcery damage, chance not to consume ammo. And specifically, if you wear the chest piece, you also get bleed resistance, which that makes no sense because it's tatters, but whatever. After that, we have the Wizard set, which is bleed resistance, magic resistance, sorcery damage increase, and chance to not consume ammo across the whole board. So if you wear this, you're pretty much never going to consume ammo. And finally, we have a Knight set, which is bleed and fire resistant, as well as a bunch of stats, but it is lowered speed and attack speed if you wear the full set. Just keep that in mind. And so far, those are the only sets available. There are 6 sets right now. And of course, more are going to be added, do not worry. But right now, this is what you have to work with in terms of what sets you want to gun for. And they are all craftable. Keep that in mind. No matter what set it is, you are welcome to craft this using all the custom materials within the mod. Keep in mind, however, that it's going to be a lot of grinding to get some of these materials because you have to, of course, take down a bunch of the enemies. But let's move on to the enchants. And again, large category. I don't want to go over... I'm going to try to shoot past them all as quickly as I possibly can, just not bore you. But I do want to be thorough with this showcase, so let's go over each and every one. Now, mind you, I won't be able to actually showcase each and every ability, but hopefully get an idea based on what each one do. First up, we have Serration. Serration is increased damage against beasts by 10% and beastly entities by 5%. We have Abyssal Cleanser, which currently does not have enchantment books. I don't know what's up with that, unless you just can't get them in the book variety. Abyssal Cleanser is increased damage against abyssal enemies by 10%. Next up, we have Beast Hunter. It goes up to level 5, I believe. Yes, it goes up to level 5. It is increased damage against beasts by a flat amount, so that means it's not like a percent chance or anything. We have Bloodblade, which goes up to 3, and it is inflict blood loss upon a hit. And then finally, we have all the blade attacks. So we have Poison Blade, which goes up to 2, Toxic Blade, which goes up to 1 only, Withered Blade, which goes up to 2, Rotten Blade, which is 1, and Frozen Blade that goes up to 2. And all of these essentially inflicts the mob with that effect. So Frozen, they'll be frozen. Rotten, they'll get the rot effect. Wither effect, self-explanatory. Poison effect, and toxic effect. Like we went over at the beginning of the video, all those effects will apply to the mob. I'm not sure if you can put these all on one weapon. That would be broken if you could, but experimenting needs to be done in that regard. Moving on from all the weapon and melee enchantments, we have gun enchantments, which there is a plethora of them. First up, we have firepower and greater firepower, both going up to level 5. This is increased gun damage by a flat percentage amount. So again, based on the number you have, that's how strong it gets. And greater firepower obviously is stronger than firepower. After that, we have sharpshooter. So sharpshooter is a increased projectile range. I don't actually have the enchantment book for it, but that means it probably can't be gathered as a book. After that, We have Gunslinger. So Gunslinger is a decreased gun cooldown upon firing, which is really nice. And then we have Ricochet Shot, which actually goes up to 5. Self-explanatory is increased ricochet abilities. So the bolts, you know, bouncing off of targets. And then we have the Piercing, which is going through targets, which goes up to level 5 as well. After that, we have Flaming Shot. Kind of self-explanatory, sets the enemies on fire, or blocks even, it specifies. And then we have Exploding Shot, which causes an explosion upon impact. That goes up to level 3. Moving on to even more gun enchantments, we have the Ophidian Bite, which goes up to level 2, and then Expanding Shots. So Ophidian Bite and Expanding Shot both inflict, well, Ophidian Bite inflicts poison, whereas Expanding Shot increases the bleed effect upon a mob. I do not have the actual Expanding Shot enchant book, which means it probably doesn't exist unless this is the Expanding Shot. Never mind, this is the Exploding Shot. It goes Expanding Shot. It goes up to 3. And then we have the Child of the Thunder God, which summons a lightning on impact. So if you have that equipped, it will literally strike the opponent with lightning. But obviously you wouldn't want to use that on a mob that gets transformed or buffed from a lightning strike. And then finally, we have some miscellaneous enchants, which we actually talked about before. We have Star Power, Moon Blessing, and Miser Souls, or Miser Souls. So Star Power goes up to level 5, which is increased staff alchemy tools damage by a flat percentage amount. And then the same goes for the Moon Blessing, which I couldn't get the books for. And then Miser Soul actually goes up to level 6, which is the highest level currently within the mod that you can get for an enchant. And that is a chance to not consume ammo for guns, staves, etc. So if you have Miser Soul equipped, you have a chance to not consume ammo. That would go crazy with the full set that has a chance to not consume ammo for sorcery. So that would be a great double buff to have in terms of not consuming ammo. But of course, you guys all waited for it. The Piece of Resistance, the mobs. Let's go over all of the mobs within the mod as of current. First up, let's talk about the Hollows. So the Hollows are basic enemies that spawn at night in the overworld surface. Depending on their type, they drop soul fragments, rune fragments, and more rarely titanite fragments and iron or their weapons. So each one has a specific type or ability. So let's talk about the Mad Hollow first. So the Mad Hollow right here, he has 22 health. He's a weak and armored only with a broken great sword. They are almost naked and offer little challenge to the player. They come in different clothing varieties. So here you go. Here's some Hollows. Take a look at them, folks. They're pretty cool. And like I said, they just have a broken great sword. I believe the Hollows are actually from Dark Souls. I think that's like the first enemy you fight. After that, of course, we have multiple variations of the Grave Tender Hollow. So the Grave Tender Hollow is a little stronger and clad in black clothes. They come in different weapon varieties. So let's go over and show off each one. So first up, we have the Straight Sword Hollow. Then we have the Long Sword Hollow. We have the Crossbow Hollow. It's kind of funny I'm holding a crossbow. And then we have the Hollow Group, which they can spawn as a group like so right here. So you're going to have to hear their wails for a bit until things start murdering each other. I'm not sure if these mobs actually attack each other, but so far it looks like they don't like villagers. So that's going to be a thing happening. After that, we have the Hollow Soldiers. So strong Hollows equipped with different kinds of armor. For now, they only come in longsword and axe varieties, and they can throw fire bombs at enemies. So these are the Hollow Soldier types. So first up, we have the Longsword Hollow Soldier, the Axe Hollow Soldier, Crossbow Hollow Soldier, and of course the group spawn of the Hollow Soldier. So keep in mind, we're getting stronger and stronger. These guys have around 30 some health with a few armor bars of protection. So it's getting a little bit crazy now. It seems like they actually don't mind the villagers. After that, we have the Hollow Assassin, which is a fast and agile. They can inflict the blood loss status effect to a player and throw blood knives. So this is the strongest Hollow available. It is the Assassin, 26 health, 1 armor bar. And keep in mind, it has a variety of different weapon attack plans to use against you. So after that, we come to the Huntsman. So they spawn in groups at night. They come in different variants like axe, pitchfork, axe, and rifle. And they hunt beasts and monsters such as zombies. So these guys actually oppose another class of mobs. So first up, we have the Huntsman Axe. This is what he looks like. He has 44 health, 2 armor bars. The Huntsman Cutlass, which has 42 health, 2 armor bars. The Pitchfork Huntsman, 40 health, 4 armor bars. The Huntsman Rifle User, which will have 32 health, 1 armor bar, and then we have the group huntsman that can spawn, and that is a lot that you would have to contend with all at once. Keep that in mind. But so far, it's looking pretty ghoulish out here. Let's go over some church doctors, and I'm not kidding when I said that. So we have a bunch of church doctors actually to talk about. So church doctors are strong, grim mobs that come in multiple variations, such as normal, lantern, scythe, flame sprayer, pistol, and crucifix. They hunt beasts and are allied with the huntsman. So these are, I believe, from Bloodborne. So we have the first church doctor base, 64 health, 5 armor bars. We have the lantern church doctor, 68 health, 8 armor bars. These guys are really strong. We have the pistol church doctor, 60 health, 5 armor bars. Then we have the flame sprayer one, 67 or 76 health, 5 armor bars. And then we have the scythe church doctor. He has a massive scythe. He has 80 health, 5 armor bars. I don't know where they're all going. And then we have the crucifix church doctor, 80 health, 5 armor bars. And then finally you have the group spawning, which just puts a group of them down. And that's pretty crazy. I don't know why you'd want a group of them, but hey, it's a group. And we just have a conglomeration of mobs right now. It's pretty crazy. So that is it for the church doctors. Let's talk about the skeletons, which is where things will start fighting each other, I believe. So skeletons will spawn underground below Y level 48. They are stronger than hollows and come in different variations, such as fletchling, spear, and double curved swords. They are immune to blood loss. So we talked about that before, that they are immune to blood loss, but let's show off each one. So here is the fletchian, which has 36 health, 6 armor bars. We have the spear user, 36 health, 4 armor bars. Here is the curved swords, 36 health, 6 armor bars, and of course the group spawn, which just puts down a group of them, which is really cool. I'm not sure if the group spawn does different variations of them, however, I would assume it does. Not entirely sure. So far, still nothing fighting each other. Next up, let's talk about the Bone Wheel. So the Bone Wheel is a skeleton from the Dark Souls series. It is a special variant of skeleton that can roll towards a player, trampling everything in its path. This is what he looks like. He has 56 health, 8 armor bars, and like I said, he likes to roll. And then finally, we have the Skeleton Swordsman, which is the most advanced version of Skeleton currently. He is a large and stronger variant of Skeleton, very fast and agile. It spawns underneath or in the deserts at night. It attacks with bleed-inflicting attacks, throwing knives, and it can dash around in a cloud of smoke. So this is what he looks like. He has 56 health, 6 armor bars, or 54 health, sorry. And there's no multiple variation of them. Just keep that in mind. So that is it for the skeletons. Let's move on to the beast category, which is the last category we're going to go over for mob types. So beasts are a category of stronger enemies. They take increased damage from fire sorceries and are most susceptible to all damage while on fire. They take more damage from items with the Beast Hunter enchantment and from weapons with the serrated property or a serrated enchantment. So the beast potential, or patient, sorry, is the actual first one we're going to go over. So the beast patient are the weakest forms of the beast's enemy that can spawn in the world. They spawn underground or at night on the surface. They can come in normal variations or slower, slightly more powerful cloaked variants. So this is the beast patient, 36 health, 5 armor bars, and things are finally fighting each other. And then after that, we have, of course, the cloak variant, 46 health, 6 armor bars. And then we have the group of them that can spawn in. So finally, everyone is fighting it out because they don't like each other. Shouts to Bloodborne for not having everyone just being peaceful together. Anyway, after the Beast Patient, we can go over the next one, which is the Ashen Blood Beast Patient. So a stronger variation of the Beast Patient. They can spawn, alerting all enemies by screaming. And they have the position of the player, giving them stronger venomous attacks and red eyes. So they will alert all beast types, and like I said, they hate the player. So 80 health, 8 armor bars, and I wonder if we're going to get his scream, or is he going to even attack us? Well, that was his scream. That was extremely loud, but I guess if you hear that, you know exactly what that's coming from. Anyway, let's move on to abyssal entities. So abyssal entities are corrupted dark spawn of the deep. They take more damage from weapons with the abyssal cleanser enchantment. And first up to talk about is the dark wraith. So the dark wraith is a dark and powerful emissary of the abyss that can spawn deep underground. So this is him. He has 80 health, 5 armor bars, and I believe he's only going to spawn with the same enchant. Yeah, or same weapon, sorry. He does not have any different variations, but he is very powerful. 80 health, 5 armor bars at that. Next up, we have the Sewer Centipede. So the Sewer Centipede, they spawn deep underground or in swamps. This is what they look like. Pretty terrifying. 58 health, 4 armor bars, and they just crawl around. Pretty disturbing creature. After that, we have the Leech, which also spawns deep underground or in swamps and or oceans, and they afflict the player with the blood loss effect. So this is the Leech. 54 health, 4 armor bars. And this thing reminds me actually of the creature from the Elden Ring DLC, but I'm not sure if that's what he is from. But yeah, that is what he looks like. Pretty terrifying. And then finally, we have the Monstrosity of Sin, which is a very strong thing that spawns deep underground and is very weak to blood loss. So this is what it looks like. This is our first, I would like to say, boss mob, or maybe mini boss. It has 100 health, 8 armor bars, and it likes growling. It is pretty terrifying. And other than that, that is it for all the mobs. I think we've done it. And in case anyone is here, you know what? Wait a minute. And in case anyone is wondering, there also is future content planned for new enemies, new mobs, new armor sets, pyromancy, miracles, and dark sorceries planned on being added. A summoner class is planned on being added. New bosses, structures, and dimensions also planned on being added in future updates. So if you guys want to subscribe to the channel to receive updates on this mod, feel free to do so. The down link will be in the description. You do need the Gecko Lib support mod for this mod to function, which will also be provided to you in the description. And I'm excited that this is in 1.21. That means that this mod is in the most recent version of Minecraft, and being as big of a mod as it is already, I have no worries that this mod won't be getting any more updates. So definitely feel free to download for yourself, check it out. Let me know in the comments down below which weapon type is your favorite, which mob is your favorite. Let me know all the things, and if I missed anything, feel free to also let me know about that. And I do hope to see you all in the next video. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Goodbye.